Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Augusto Argandoña Fine Arts. Anytime in the course of this narrated tutorial, you can click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. And I would also appreciate hearing your comments about this particular video that I'm about to do, or any of the other videos that are in my YouTube channel. I would appreciate your comments. If you want to learn about my virtual classes or want to see my paintings, you can do so on my website at aafinearts.com. You can also email me to aafinearts@gmail.com. This tutorial is about how to paint a street scene with watercolors. This particular scene is in a small, I wouldn't say downtown area, but it's a satellite area of downtown. It's a very short area, it's about a block or two, has some shops, a lot of restaurants, outdoor cafes, and so forth. It's located at here in Sarasota, Florida. And this building on the left is a very iconic building. It's called MORTON'S Market. It's a grocery store, and there's some other stores in the building, but primarily the grocery store. It's a very colorful area, and it's very nice. So that's what I'm about to paint. So let's get to the fun part of this tutorial, and that is the painting part. I'm going to start. Before I start, I just want to mention that this particular painting, as all of my paintings are done, is done on 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. I prefer the 140-pound. I don't do too much on 300-pound or the rough paper, and I definitely do not like to paint on the hot press. I like the way the cold press behaves. And my brushes, for the most part, are flat brushes. I'm more partial to my flat brushes. You will see me using both the flat brushes as well as the round brushes. And my pigments are primarily Winsor & Newton, although I do also use sometimes, I'm going to make a line over here, Daniel Smith, and occasionally one or two of my pigments are Holbein. But primarily Winsor & Newton and Daniel Smith. So let's get to the painting part. I'm going to start here by adding some water to the sky area. Quite a bit of water really. And I'm going to border those areas where the buildings are. And I'm going to go over the areas where the palm trees will be. But I'm going to put a bit of water here. The sunlight's going to be coming from the east. It's all be coming from the right-hand side. So I'm going to add some water over here in this whole area, like that. Perhaps a little bit more over here. There we are. And now I'm going to bring in some manganese blue. A combination of manganese blue and cobalt blue for the sky area. And I'm going to have a few areas, white areas for clouds too. So I'm going to just start dropping in the color. And a few areas, like I said, I'm going to have leave some white areas for the clouds. A little bit more of the cobalt blue, like this over here. I'll have some more blue next to the roofs, which are going to be one colors. A little bit more of the cobalt blue over here. And like I said, some areas will be for clouds. And that's pretty much it. Just bring it down like that. Like that. And that's it for the sky. Probably let that dry. In the meantime, I'm gonna also add some water to this road, to the street. It's gonna be getting a lot of sunlight. However, that pavement has a color. So I'm gonna paint that too right away. I put a bit of water to that area. And now I'm gonna make a mixture of brown matter and ultramarine blue. A little bit more on the ultramarine blue than the brown matter. And then just start laying the color. Like I said, not too dark at this point. There's gonna be some shadow areas there too. Like that. I'm leaving the sidewalk areas. I'm not touching the cars either. And I'm gonna bring a little bit more of the ultramarine, especially in this lower area. Like that. I'm also gonna bring a little bit, just a tad bit of sepia into that mixture. And primarily to this lower area. There, and that's pretty much it for the road. So, like I said, the sidewalk areas I'm gonna leave them white because that the concrete, there's quite a difference in chroma and color between the concrete and the pavement. So I'm gonna leave the sidewalks white. Now, so now I'm gonna change brushes. I'm gonna go to my flat brushes, rather my round brushes. And before I do the buildings over here, the color of the building is kind of an orangey terracotta type color. It's gonna be fairly bright. However, because of the sunlight coming from the right-hand side, some of these palm trees are gonna be fairly bright too. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing those palm trees. I'm gonna get my number 10 round brush. I'm gonna mix a mixture of aureolin yellow, a little bit of aureolin yellow, a little bit of raw sienna, and I'm gonna start with cerulean blue into that mixture. So aureolin yellow, raw sienna, and cerulean blue. And I'm gonna do these palm trees that are in the corner first. I'm gonna get a little bit more water. These are adonidia palms, which grow in threes, 3 trunks. Like that. There, like that. And now I'm going to change from cerulean blue to ultramarine blue with some of the darker areas of those fronds. There we are. I'm also going to bring in some Payne's Gray to do the areas that are on the shadow side of the fronds. Like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to also take care of this. These are date palms. So those are going to be a little lighter in color. The green is going to be kind of dull, actually. So I'm gonna do this with a little bit more water to my brush. Not too much. And do those date palms. They're fairly tall palms. Well, there's another one over here. There we are. There's some long fronds that are coming towards the building. Like that. And same thing overhanging over the street. Like that. And likewise, and as I did on the other palm, there's going to be some darker fronds. So I'm going to use some sepia and Payne's gray, and some do some of the lower areas that are in the shade. Like that. A little bit more of the Payne's gray. Yeah. Okay, so those palms are pretty much done. So now that it's done, well, before I do anything else here, I'm gonna go ahead and do these palms through. My sky is still, I want some crispness here, so I'm gonna wait for the sky to dry in that area. However, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some of the areas for this building. And for that, this whole building is going to be in the shade, so I'm going to use some sepia and some cobalt blue and start laying those colors over here. See, that sky is still kind of wet, so I'm going to wait. Since I already have that, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Put a little bit of ultramarine to that mixture. And I'm going to come over here and get my picture in place. And while I'm enlarging my reference image, I want to do this. I think I should have waited, so I'm going to wait. That's too wet. I'm going to wait for that. That's all right. So this is dry over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do the building, the Morton Market building. That roof is kind of I wouldn't say terracotta. It's mostly kind of a brownish color, the burnt sienna. And a little bit of burnt umber would be ideal for that color of that roof. It's a tile roof, but it's very kind of brownish color. Yeah, this is dry. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down this color for the roof. Like that, and we come down over here, there. I think I'm going to bring a little bit more, I think I'm going to bring some of our yellow ochre and a little bit of cadmium red for that roof. There we are, like that. And bring it on like that. There we are. Good. And I'm going to add a little bit of that over here. There we are. I'm gonna remove a little bit of the pigmentation there. I'm gonna leave it like that for now. So when that is drying, oh, there's another area of roof over here too. There we are. And I'm gonna bring in some a little more burnt umber, a little darker, with that edge of the tile. Do that over here too, and over here. There. Good. So now we're gonna lay in the colors of the walls, and those walls are, like I said, kind of terracotta. So what I'm gonna use more yellow ochre, and let me check these colors. Okay, yeah, yellow ochre and a little bit of burnt sienna. A bit more water in my brush, and come over here like this. That's pretty close to the roof color, so I'm going to change that. Has more of a reddish tone. So what I'm going to do is get some cadmium red and yellow ochre. That will be better. Okay, now that we'll do that. Yeah, that's much better. I'm also going to add maybe a little bit of I would say brown matter. Yeah, a little bit of brown matter to that mixture. Yeah, this is better. Okay, that's much better. Make this a little lighter. Drop it all the way down there. There we are. And there's a wall here. This is an opening. There's a pole column. I'm gonna do that later. Do that. And I'm gonna bring a little bit more of that color over here. There's some awnings there too. There we are. There. That's good. Bring this over here. And then I'm gonna bring more of that color into this area. There. I'm gonna bring it like this. I'm gonna darken that area later. That building is very, very colorful. Very nice. But this color is a little bit difficult to establish. But I think we're doing fine though. There's some railing there, concrete railing or some decorative type railing, like that. Bring some of that color down. There. kind of garish looking, but it's still very nice. Over here, the same thing. There's some palm trees there. I want to make this kind of light. It's over here, then like that. Bring some of those colors, a little bit more of the color over here. There's some more of that color over here. I think I'm gonna go over those palm tree trunks. I'll do those later. A little bit more of the burnt sienna here. Like that. And there's some arch over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Do it kind of dark. We'll darken that area later. But for now, I'm gonna outline those palm tree trunks. And there's some over here too, there's some of that color. In fact, I'm gonna bring that color all the way down. That's gonna be much darker. I'm gonna bring some brown matter with burnt umber this time. For this area, it's gonna be much darker. To this area. That area is going to be in the shade. So I'm going to go ahead and bring some more of the burnt umber, a little bit of brown matter, and this time I'm going to bring in some ultramarine blue, kind of tone that down. There, yeah. Bring those colors all the way down here. And there's a little bit of roof here. We're gonna do the same color. A little bit of that. And we're gonna darken that later. There's a little bit of a yellow ochre, stripe of yellow ochre, and the rest is white over here. But because of the fact that this is in the shade, the rest of this wall I'm going to be making gray. Like that. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to start showing the difference between the walls though. This wall is in the shade, so it's going to be darker. Like that. This wall will also be in the shade. It's going to be getting a little bit of very little sunlight, but it'll be mostly in the shade. We'll do the details later. There, okay, okay. Now I'm going to do this, I'll get a smaller brush and get some gray tones, a little bit of yellow ochre mixed into this gray area, and do this railing. There we are. And this railing over here too, there's some architectural details like that, and part of the railing like that. There we are. There's some, I'll get some green and combine with cobalt blue for these awnings. A little less intensity. And the green awnings. There's four awnings there. A little bit more of the green and the cobalt blue. There's some awnings over here too. Just like that. Okay. There's some plants over here, some planters, so I might as well do that too. There's some plants there, and the rest will be kind of dark. So I'm gonna get some ultramarine blue, mixture of ultramarine blue, brown matter, kind of warm, dark, very dark, warm color to show the difference between these areas. And over here, here we go. This is very dark. So outlining some of those plants. Yeah, that's very dark area there. A little bit of dark area over here. There we are. There's an arch on the second floor here, so I'm going to begin to do that arch. There's another arch over here, so I'm going to do that area too. Like that. I'm going to bring a little bit more of the ultramarine blue, darken that area. I'm going to bring some sepia there too, make it a lot darker. There. There's a little window over here, a little bit of window over there, some windows over here, like that. There's an opening over here that's an arch. That's the main entrance to the market. So we're gonna do that also very dark. There. But at the same time, I'm gonna bring some of that reddish tone to the rest of that arch. And there's some shadow areas like that. A little bit of ultramarine with sepia for that this open area. And there's a column here, there like that. And there's the border edge of that car. Okay, now those palm trees are going to be casting a shadow onto this wall. So we're going to do those here, like that. There we are. There's a little railing over here too. Okay, now I'm gonna do the inside of those areas where the arches are, the columns rather. There's an area over here, kind of dark. this part of that column. There we are. Get my smaller brush. Get some ultramarine, some dark, and do those arches like that, partially in the shade and partially in the light. Yeah, like that. We'll do the same thing over here. Now this arch over here too. Not an arch, but a column. There. All right. And some cobalt blue into that area too. Kind of tone that down. There. There's a little bit of that burnt sienna and cadmium orange or cadmium red to this area over here. Part of that building. And some other area of the part of the building here, some windows, and then, and I'm gonna go ahead and do more of that, those palm trees with some undersea green mixed with this yellow and brownish tone, and do some of those palm trees over here. There. Little darker areas. There we are. Okay, so that's done. Those trunks are pretty much in the shade, so I'm going to bring them down like that. There. Okay. So now I'm going to get a smaller brush. I get some of the brown matter with sepia and ultramarine blue and do this eaves. There's a little bit of an architectural detail there. There we are. Bring that all the way down here, like that. Same thing on this side. Darken that area. Same thing over here. There we are. Now, I'm gonna get the flat brush and make get some burnt sienna with this, with brown matter and the sepia. And this is casting a shadow here. There like that. And down here like this. There. Same thing on this other side. This is darker. Like that. And down there like this. Right up there. I'm gonna bring a little bit more of the brown matter. This is much darker. combine those colors right into the shadow. And same thing over here. There we are. This is dark. There's a column over here, an arch with a shadow. There. And the inside here is dark. It's inside of this arch. And I'm gonna bring up a different brush with that. Make that really dark. Like that. And also gonna darken this little area. Make more ultramarine blue and brown matter, and really darken this area up. This is very dark, and the shade there. It's all shaded this on the side, so I'm going to make that really dark, but still within the same colors. There. And there's that roof line. There we are. Okay, now with my long brush, get some burnt sienna, a little bit of cadmium red, and do this wall on this side. There we are. Okay, so Morton Market is done. There is, I'm gonna do some little details on that building later, but for now that's done. I'm gonna get some of the alveoli and yellow, a little bit of the cerulean blue, and do this greenery over here. There. There. Get some of the dark brown, not dark green rather, on the bottom area. There we are. And get some of this gray and do these columns. Inside of this column also. There. And inside of this, shadows. There. This will be in the shade. There we are. Well, this is true. I'm going to wait for that to dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the detailing for the roof over here. There's some, I'm going to use a different brush. No, this brush, but I'm going to minimize the amount of water in the brush. A little bit of details of the tile. Like that, not too much. There. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water in this flat brush and remove some of this, make it lighter because of the sunlight. There we are. There, that's much better. Okay, so that building's done. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do those cars. Might get a darker blue car over here. We'll do a red car behind that. Yeah, we'll do the wheels later. We'll put a van on this side behind that. And then another car behind, make it darker too. And the van, another van. Yeah. So now we'll do the tires, the shadows, everything underneath. Combine the tires. With what's happening below the cars. There we go. Okay, so those cars are done. Do the windows. Yeah. Okay. So now, while I'm doing that, get a little bit of blue color here and do these cars. Darken some of those windows too. And the wheels. There we go. Also, we're going to put that car in the shade. I don't want it white. Well, the car is white, but it's going to be in the shade. Same thing with this. There. All right, good. So now, this building is done. The sky is dry. So I'm going to do the buildings and the palm trees. They're on this side of the street. I'm going to get a smaller round brush. A little bit of rose sienna. And some of the green that I have here. And we'll do this palm tree It's either cabbage, yeah, I think it could be a Washingtonian palm. A little bit less of that color. There we are. A little bit more of those colors, darker, with Payne's gray, and do some of the darker browns, especially on this side. Yeah, okay, bring some of that down here. Bring some of the burnt umber for the dry parts of those browns and the palm. There we are. A little bit more of that Payne's gray. Some of this details on the palms. There, okay. Then we'll do the rest of these palms. These are queen palms, and there's some royal palms. So I'm going to make them quite dark also. Mostly in the shade too. It's over here. Yeah, like that. Bring a different type of green into that mixture. And do some of these other palms here. These are the queen palms. Yeah, a bit more of that dark green, really dark green into this area. There's more of those palms. Like that. Yeah. Okay. Now, there's trees in the distance, make them a little lighter, but nonetheless, they're much lighter than that. Just like that. Greenery there. A little darker over here. And like that. There's some greenery over here too. Yeah. Okay. There's some little bushes over here. Get some green. Dark green areas. There we are. And now we'll do these buildings that are in the shade. Now my sky is dry now, so So I'm gonna get a round brush, more cobalt blue into this gray area. There we are, like that. I'm gonna get all of this gray over here. This is an awning. There we are. All of this will be gray and dark. Also gonna bring some yellow ochre to some of these areas like that. And also some burnt sienna. So there's some roofs and like that. And then we get some sepia, ultramarine blue, and do some of the dark areas here. A bit of brown matter there too, for some of the really dark areas. Get some more ultramarine and do all the combine it with that greenery that is happening over here. There we are. And there's some ultramarine. And do all these doors and windows. Get that done like that. Some cobalt blue. Get some cobalt blue there. Some of the little details from some of those little lamps. There we are. Well, there's another little architectural detail here. There, like that. Okay. Now we'll do that little awning that is kind of this color, turquoise, and get some of the cobalt blue, and we'll bring down some of the shadows over here. There we are, and that's pretty much done. There's some lighter areas of color over here, over here, like this, like that. There we are. I'm gonna leave that way. Get a smaller brush and get some of the ultramarine, some of the brown matter, and do some of the details over here. On the other opposite side of the street, there's some different colors through here. There's some awnings, a little darker. Get some of those darker colors over here. Some of the details. There's a building over here. some windows. Oops, there we are. There's a little details for the distance, and we'll be bringing some warm sienna too, kind of warm up a few of these areas. But primarily leaving like that. Get some of the darker effects here. Like that, yeah. A little bit, some of these trees. There. Now, when we get some of these gray tones, we do these trunks. There. There we are. Get some of that a little bit of that grayish, greenish effect of everything that's happening here. Like I said, there's some doors, some windows. Like that there. And now we'll do the road a little bit more. I'm gonna get a round brush, get a little bit more cobalt blue and brown matter, and give this road a little bit more of a definition. Get those shadows underneath those cars. The shadows there. Shadow there on these cars. And some shadows from these trees and so forth, like that. There's that edge of that curve. And we'll put this in the shade. I'm gonna do those trunks. But in the meantime, I'm gonna do some tire tracks, something like that. There's a crosswalk here. Like that. So make this a little wider and a little darker to indicate that road. Like that. A little bit more of that over here, like this. There. Okay. Now, lastly, get my small little brush and do this trunks for these palm trees. There, like that. And the painting is pretty much done. I'm gonna darken this area a little bit more in between this crosswalk. There. I think I'm gonna do away with that. I don't like it. There we are. It would be better that way. So I'm going to remove some of that. There, that's much better. Much better. So now, lastly, I'm going to get me a little bit of brown matter, a little bit of ultramarine blue, not too much, and I'm going to sign it over here. And that's it. And the painting is done. So I'm going to take there's some other little architectural elements. So I'm going to take some white paint. Where's my white paint? I have some white paint here, right here. And black. Where's my white? Okay, this is white. It's a smaller brush. I'll get some of this white paint. And there's some little architectural elements here. There we are. There's a little bit over here. This window has a little bit of white, so there's that. There we are. A little bit of touches of white on those columns. Same thing over here. There's a little column, little touches of white there. There's a little touches of white. There's little windows there. I'm also going to do this thing. I'm going to put a few touches of white here. Some of this, like that. There we are. And that's pretty much it. Wait a minute, there's another one over here. There's an arch window. And there's some balconies. There, like that. And we'll do those. And lastly, I'm going to take a smaller brush. Where's my small brush? And darken some of those openings on the left hand side, because this is a window over here. And there's some darker areas here too. There's a dark area over here. There. Okay. And that's it. So I'm going to remove this tape. And I'm going to put this on top of a darker board so you can see how this painting looks. And we'll be able to appreciate it a little bit more than on this other board. I will remove that tape. And here comes the darker board. Put it there. And here's the painting. I'm going to minimize this. There. And there it is. Morton's Market in Sarasota, Florida. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy my painting. And please visit my website at aafinearts.com. There you will see information about my virtual classes and a selection of my paintings and prints. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Augusto Argandoña Fine Arts. Thank you. Until next time.